Welcome back everybody to my channel. My name is Xilight, as you now hopefully know. Now over the past year, I have seen so many update ideas and so many cool ideas for Minecraft. Now this was prior to 1.17's announcement of the Caves and the Cliffs update. There were tons of ideas and one stuck out to me. The space update. Now granted, this likely won't ever happen. I'm pretty confident a space update won't ever happen. But I want to talk about this video and break down in depth how a space update would benefit Minecraft. Now this is part one of a two-part mini video series here on the channel of me talking about the space update in Minecraft. And the reason for the two parts is because this video I'm going to be talking about the dimension route Mojang can take. Next video, which is probably going to be later this week, I'm going to be talking about the outer space route that Mojang can take. You know how it goes? Let's get to breaking it down. I want to start it off with talking about a brand new civilization. You probably already knew I was going to talk about this, but I'm a huge advocate for lore and history in Minecraft and in any game. A new civilization instantly boosts that lore and history added to Minecraft, and it instantly gives players new opportunities to figure out the lore and history by making various theories on this civilization. Now this civilization isn't going to look normal. No, it's going to look actually quite weird and quite ugly, which is how I want it to look. This civilization is going to be made up of blocks from the Nether and the End. Now notice how I didn't say overworld. That's because whatever this civilization is hasn't been to the overworld. And allow me to explain. There's going to be a new structure added in this update called the unfinished rocket ship. Now what this is it's its name. I don't know why I said that, but it's an unfinished rocket ship that is currently in progress as you make it to the dimension. This new unfinished rocket ship will likely signal to players this civilization was attempting to go somewhere. But where? Well, if we look deep at the mobs, and they're made out of nether blocks and end blocks, you can infer and theorize that they were heading to the overworld. That's not confirmed by me. I mean, this is technically like my update idea, so I'm not going to confirm that. You all can figure that out for yourselves if you'd like to theorize about that. I think it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. The mobs are made out of nether blocks and end blocks, not overworld blocks, and there's an unfinished rocket ship that could signal they're building a rocket ship to go somewhere. But I want to focus key and point on the fact that they're made out of blocks from the Nether and the End. I didn't just decide to throw these random blocks in these mobs. No, I put them there for a reason. That deepens the lore of Minecraft so deep that I highly doubt anybody could figure it out. Hell, I made this and I don't know how this works. I didn't come up with the lore of how this whole thing fits into Minecraft. I thought this would so deepen the lore and history of Minecraft, and I think it would be an extremely fun idea for people to theorize about and come up about ideas for. That pretty much does it for the mobs and the civilization. I want to talk about the Enderman for a minute. Now, looking at MatPat of Game Theory on the Enderman, I'll quickly explain here. He basically stated that the Endermen are an ancient race of builders. So they were like us, like Steve. They were builders, like us, like adventurers. And these ancient race of builders came to the end, got trapped in the end, lived in harmony with the Ender Dragon, and started eating chorus fruit. Now, if you didn't know, chorus fruit, when you eat it, you teleport. So these ancient race of builders had to eat chorus fruit as their only food for survival. And as they continued eating them over years, they started to gain natural teleportation abilities, which is why they can teleport how they do in-game. Now, if you notice, Endermen are in the Nether, the overworld, and their homeworld, the End. Now, if it is true that these are an ancient race of builders, the reason they're in the Nether and the overworld is because the overworld was their old home, and they remember it, so they go there. However, the Nether, it's the same thing. They used to travel there to go there for supplies and loot. So they go there. But they won't ever appear in this new space dimension. Endermen appear in every dimension, but they won't appear here. You will never see an Enderman here, and that's because this ancient race of builders never made it to this dimension. They never made it here. You are the first one to make it to this space dimension. You're the first one to encounter this new civilization and uncover what they're doing. Now, I did not come up with the behaviors of these mobs besides that they are neutral towards the player. But there is another thing I want to talk about, and that is the boss. I said last week during Does Minecraft Really Need More Bosses video, I basically went in depth deciding does Minecraft really need more bosses. Kind of like the title of the video says. Go watch that video if you want to learn more, but I'll quickly explain. I basically said that if Mojang were to add another boss in the game, it should be only added in a new dimension. So with the addition of this dimension, the space dimension, you know damn well that I'm going to say a new boss is coming. And you're right. This new boss is going to be similar to its ancient race of civilization. These ancient mobs made out of nether blocks and end blocks. And guess what? This boss is made out of the same things. Now you might be thinking that's uncreative, that you just took the same thing from the mobs and put it in a boss and said, this one's a little more powerful. But that's not quite. I'm not done yet. See, this boss is made out of nether blocks, end blocks, and overworld blocks. So how the hell did this boss get overworld blocks, but the others didn't? Put it simply, this boss managed to make it to the overworld somehow. Supposedly. I'm not going to confirm that. I'm not going to confirm any of these things. That is for you to theorize. But this boss supposedly made it to the overworld. And it has a major connection with the mobs and the biomes and the entire environment of every single dimension. Now, these mobs, you're going to need full netherite gear to fight these mobs. These mobs are extremely powerful. Like, you come to this dimension, you best bet you have netherite gear, or you're going to get pummeled if you attack one of these mobs. So here's the thing. If the mobs require netherite, what does this boss require for you to fight it and be successful? Netherite. I'm not adding a new tier of gear. If this were to be added anytime soon, and space update, a dimension update added anytime soon, and Mojang by some miracle added everything I said, yes, I know that's not actually going to happen. Let a man dream. Then I don't see a new tier of gear being added. Simply put it, because the netherite is new, and I don't want it being overtaken anytime soon. Diamonds were in first place for a very long time, and to be honest, surprisingly, a lot of people didn't mind diamonds being overtaken by netherite. I hardly saw anybody being mad that diamonds were overtaken, and I think it's because diamonds were the king for so long, and we got a new king, and that's netherite. So you're going to need netherite to fight this boss, but unlike the other boss fights that you can strategize and easily beat, this boss fight, oh no, this boss fight's going to be a pain in the ass, and you're going to have a hell of a time fighting it. Now, when you beat it, what do you get? I haven't figured out that far. Now, I want to state quickly here, later this year, or probably next year, I'm going to be making a follow-up video on this, kind of like where I'm kind of like patching and coming up with better ideas, kind of like an updated version of this is what I'm saying, an updated version of an update, and that way I have everything fixed and decided the mob's behaviors at that time. So there will be an update to this. So at the moment, I do not know what the boss drops, but you're going to have a hell of a time fighting this boss, being that you need full netherite gear, and in the first place, you're not going to have an easy time fighting this civilization. You're not going to have an easy time fighting those mobs, even with full netherite gear, so good luck on that. But the boss, being that there's no next tier of gear, you're going to need full netherite gear, and you're even with full enchantments on, you're going to have a good time fighting this. I want a challenge. and you're gonna have a fun time fighting this boss. So I think it's time to get on to the conclusion. So this whole video was me breaking down in depth how a space update would benefit Minecraft, and I think it benefits it it's a pretty big impact. Obviously, you already know I'm a huge advocate for lore and history of Minecraft in any game, and I know I've said that a lot, but I'm a huge advocate for it, and I love it. This gives players a huge opportunity to come up with theories about the game's lore and history. Honestly, that's all that I practically put into this, lore and history. When I was coming up with these ideas, I pretty much only used lore and history here in my notes here, coming down with ideas. Pretty much lore and history was the only thing in the back of my mind writing these things down. It wasn't gameplay, besides the boss. That was the only one that I had gameplay in my mind. So, later this year, or next year, I'm going to be making a follow-up video because obviously I only thought of these with lore and history intentions on my mind. So later, probably next year actually, I'm going to be making a follow-up. Now, let me say something. Earlier this video I said about the outer space route Mojang could take. Well, about that, more info on that. That video is going to release later this week. You see, the outer space. When I was younger, I would just fly up into the air and hope I get to space, right? I know I was stupid. Come on, don't lie, you did it too. I'd fly up into space and hope that there was, like, actual space, you know, we could find other planets, right? Because you'd see all these mods with it, and, you know, usually those mods were just scams, and they would never tell you it was a mod. You gotta love YouTube back then, right? But here's what's gonna happen. That's gonna be the same thing you're doing, essentially, except you're actually going to find outer space. It's gonna be very controversial, and I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind when I come up with the ideas for it. But you're going to be able to fly up with an elytra, unless you go in creative mode. If you're going in survival mode, you need an elytra and plenty of fireworks. And you're going to fly up into space, and we will go from there. That'll be out later this week. This was my second attempt at making this video, because the first one, my editing app broke. The one I'm using on to make this broke, had a seizure, like it does half my videos, unfortunately. Well, I'm on mobile, not all editing apps are best. And I had to restart, because the whole audio was cut out. Anyways, that's enough of this space update video. If you all did enjoy, please leave a like, consider subscribing. Remember, this was part 1 of a 2-part mini-series about this whole space update. I didn't actually think I was going to need 2 parts for this, but found out I did anyways. Again, if you did enjoy, please leave a like, consider subscribing. You know how it do be, though. And I will see you then, hopefully in a future space update.